Now, today we will start with lesson 6, which talking about congruence in right triangles. We will explain, we will know how can we prove the right triangles congruent using the hypotenuse leg theorem. And this is on here. We are talking about right triangles. How can we prove that these two right triangles are congruent? Now, in the lessons, in the first 2 lessons, we know that how can we find, or how can we say that these two triangles are congruent by ASA or AAS or SSS or SAS. We say that if we have two sides and an included angle, I can say that these two triangles are congruent. If you have these three sides and these three sides are congruent, so I can say that these two triangles are congruent. And if I have two angles and a side that's included between them, I can say now that these two triangles are congruent. And also, if you have two angles and a side that's not included, we can say also that these two angles are congruent. How now, if you have this one, which is name is
Teacher?
Yes.
The screen is not appearing to me.
Maybe you're opening from انت حاطة على participant.
All of you?
No. It appears
No,
to
teacher,
me.
it's clear for me, yes.
Okay. So you have now this triangle. And this triangle ABC, here is 4, here is 5, and here is 45. And you have this one here is 4, and here is 5, and here is 45. So if you look at these two triangles are not congruent. Why? Because look here, we have side, angle, side, angle. Did you talk about a theorem? We name it SSA.
No.
No.
Again.
And these two triangles here. Okay? For these two triangles, can we say that these two triangles, I mean here, you have side 4, side 5, and angled 45. So here the given information is SSA. Can we say that these two triangles are congruent by SSA?
So there's no postulate named SSA.
Thank you. There's no theorem, there's no postulate, there's no valid method. Its name is SSA. So we cannot say that these two triangles are congruent. But in right triangle, that's mean here, that's mean here is not 45. Here, if you have now, if I told you now that here you have a right triangle with a 90 here and 90 here. If now I'm talking about these right triangles, okay, and we have a angle which is 90, and these two sides are not, or this angle are not included, is not included between these two sides, I can say now these two triangles are congruent. That means that if we have a side and another side and an angle that's included between them, this method is not working on the obtuse or in acute triangle, but it works on the right triangle. So let's see now which, or how can we say that these two right triangles are congruent. Let's see now. Let's see, how can we prove that these two triangles are congruent? In the right triangle, he told me that all of us know why we name it right triangle, because right triangle, because it has a right angle. Is it right? The right triangle, it has a right angle.
Yes.
And
Yes, teacher.
the opposite side to the right, this is the right angle. The opposite side to the right angle, we called it hypotenuse. So the opposite side to the right triangle, we called it hypotenuse. So what is the name of the side that is opposite to the right angle?
Hypotenuse.
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 Now, the hypotenuse is the longest side in the right triangle. Look at this one here. This is the hypotenuse. It is the longest side in the triangle. Look at this one here also. It is the longest side in the triangle. So the hypotenuse, it is the longest side in the triangle and it is opposite to the right angle. The other two sides, I mean this one and this one, we will name it with legs. Later on, you will name it with adjacent and adjacent and side. But later on, not now. But now, by now, I want you to know that their names are legs. They are the legs in the triangle. And the side that is opposite to the right angle, we called it hypotenuse. So, is it clear what is the definition of the hypotenuse?
Yes.
And what are the legs?
Yes, teacher.
Now look
Yes.
at the theorem for 6. In the theorem for 6, he told me that if the hypotenuse, now one by one please, if the hypotenuse and a leg of one right triangle, I mean now that if I have this right triangle and I have now another right triangle, if a hypotenuse and a leg of one right triangle are congruent to the hypotenuse and a leg of another right triangle, then the triangles are congruent. I mean, if you look at these two triangles, if the hypotenuse of the first triangle is congruent with the hypotenuse of the second triangle, and there's a leg in the right triangle is congruent with an another leg in the triangle, in the another triangle, both of them are congruent. So I can say that these two sides are congruent. These two triangles, sorry, are congruent. And because of that, we will name this theorem with not SAS or IAS or SA. No, we'll name it with HL. H is hypotenuse, L is for legs. So if you have a two right triangle, it must be right triangle. If you have two right triangles with the hypotenuse are congruent and one leg is congruent with another leg in the other triangle, so I can conclude now that these two right triangles are congruent, and we will name this theorem with HL. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, miss.
Now, what are the conditions of the HL or hypotenuse legs theorem? To use this theorem, the triangles must meet three conditions. The first one, we must have two right triangles. What does it mean? That means if I have right triangle and an equilateral triangle, the HL cannot work. Why? Because I must have two right triangles. The second one. So this is the first one. If you see now that one of them is not right triangle, I will stop. Look at now the second one. If we have two right triangles now, the triangles have congruent hypotenuse. It means that it must have congruent hypotenuse. And also there's a one pair of congruent legs. This leg with this leg, or this leg with this leg. So the three conditions to let HL theorem works, that we must have two right triangles. The triangles have congruent hypotenuse, and there is one pair of legs that is congruent. Let's have an example. So the theorem of this lesson that's work on the right triangle, it says that if we have two right triangles and the hypotenuse, the first hypotenuse is congruent with the second hypotenuse, and one leg is congruent with another leg, so two hypotenuse are congruent with two legs are congruent. So, and I'm talking about right triangles. That's mean my two triangles are congruent. And what are the conditions? The conditions will be, we must have two right triangles, and these triangles must have two congruent hypotenuse and one pair of congruent legs.
Teacher,
Yes.
please again, what is the meaning of hypotenuse, please?
Okay. The hypotenuse, that if you have this triangle in this type of triangle, we called it right triangle. Now, why we name it with right triangle? Because it has a right angle. Now, the side that is opposite, here we have the right angle. The side that is opposite to the right angle, we called it hypotenuse.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Yeah, welcome. This is the definition of the hypotenuse. Now, let's do problem number 1. On the basketball background, brackets shown below. Here, this one here, you have now the angle of ADC and BDC are right angles. ADC, I mean this angle, and BDC are also right angle. And AC and BC are congruent. The question is, are the triangle ADC are congruent with the triangle BDC? The first step here, the first step, if I saw right triangle, I'm asking myself, oh, I have to go to the HL theorem. This is the first step. The HL theorem, he asked me now to check 3 conditions. The first one, if the triangles are right. The second one, if we have the hypotenuse, or the hypotenuses, sorry, are congruent. And the third one, if one pair of legs are congruent. These are the 3 conditions for the HL theorem. The first one, that the 2 triangles are right. Let's check now. Look at the triangle. Let's declare it now. With pink. And the second one, let's color it with the blue. The pink and the blue triangle. Now, look at the pink and the blue triangle. Are they right triangles?
Yes.
Yes. So, since now that the angle ADC and BDC are right angle, so the triangle ADC and CDB are right triangles. Where should I write now? So the first one now, since now the angle ADC and the angle BDC are right angles, so the triangle ADC and BDC are right triangles. So is my first condition accomplished here? Does it happen? My first condition says that I must have two right triangles. And we have two right triangles. Let's go now to the second one. Now, where's the hypotenuse here? Here is my right triangle.
Hypotenuse are this line, the line above the angle.
AC and BC.
AC.
Look at the right.
AC and BC.
Look at the right triangle, the light angle, sorry. The orange one. In the pink triangle. What is the opposite side? It is AC.
AC.
Which is, we name it what? With hypotenuse. And look at the second one here. The hypotenuse here also.
It's BC.
Is
BC.
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 Which is?
The hypotenuse.
Which is congruent to each other. صح? It is given.
Yes.
So, since they are given, so I can say now the hypotenuse
Can work. We have two pair of hypotenuse.
Yes, so the hypotenuses here are congruent. So now I have two angles, two triangles are right, and I have two hypotenuse are congruent. Now, what's also? Let's go back to the conditions here. Look at the conditions here. I need two right triangles. I found them. I need congruent hypotenuse. I found them. What is the last one? One pair of congruent legs.
Legs.
Yeah, let's go back now. Who can give me legs that they are congruent? Two legs that they are congruent.
AD and DB.
DB.
Did he told you, Ya Farah, that this one is equal?
It's AC and BC.
AC and CD.
AC and BC.
No, teacher, I mean DC because the reflectors.
DC,
Yes,
CD.
DC, thank you. So DC also. And DC now is congruent with DC. Why? Because of the
reflective property.
So now, did I have a one pair of legs that they are congruent?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is DC.
Yes.
So now the conditions are: the first one, I have right triangles. The second one, the hypotenuse are congruent. The third one, the one legs are congruent. So can I conclude now that these two triangles, the pink and the blue one, are congruent?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
I can say now that the triangle ADC are congruent with BDC because these three third conditions are satisfied by the HL theorem. So yes, it's work by the HL theorem. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, miss. Yes, teacher.
Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Look at this one here. In this one here, PRS and RPQ are right angles. SP are congruent with the QR. Now, let's now P, R, S, and the second one, it was P, Q, and R. Now, if I want to say that these two, here the question is proof that each P, R, S are congruent with R, P, Q. Now, here now, the first thing, if I want to use the HL theorem, I have to check the three things. The first one, are the two triangles here are right triangles?
Yes, because it's
Yes,
It's
teacher.
given.
Yes,
Yes.
because it's given.
So
He
the
told me
the
it was
angle
right angles.
P since that the angle PRS and the angle PRQ are right angles, so the triangle SPR and RPQ are right triangles. Is the first one. The second one, I want to check now if the hypotenuse are congruent or no.
Yes, they're congruent because he gave me them.
Yes, هلا if
Give
he
us.
told you that,
Yeah.
if he didn't tell you that these two sides are congruent, you have to stop. That's mean I look here to this right angle. Where is its opposite side? It is PS. And if you look at this right angle, where it is opposite side, it is RQ. Then, is RQ are congruent with SP?
Yes, because it's given.
Yes,
Given.
it's given.
Yes, because it's given.
So SP are congruent with QR. It's given. Which are the hypotenuse? And that's mean the hypotenuse here are congruent. Now then, the hypotenuse are congruent. The angles are right angles. Now we have to search about a side that is congruent, or about a legs, sorry, one pair of legs that are congruent. Who give me?
It's going to be
It's VR.
PR.
PR because of the reflexive property.
PR because of the reflexive property.
reflexive property.
Because of the reflexive
property of congruence.
So we have now a one pair of legs that are congruent. So now one pair of legs are congruent. Two sides
So
congruent, and two hypotenuse, sorry, are congruent. two right angles are congruent. Can I say now that these two triangles are congruent?
Yes.
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 No? I will write now my conclusion here.
Triangle P
And
and
I will say that the triangle
RS
are congruent with the triangle RPQ because of what?
HL theorem.
HL theorem.
XL theorem.
HL theorem.
Is HL theorem.
Yes.
Now,
Teacher, we will solve got it B.
no. By the way, by now we finished our lesson. Okay, problem 2 is not with you. And the proof of the theorem HL is not with you too. I only want you from this lesson to know how can we say that these two right triangles are congruent.
Okay, Miss.
So
Teacher,
problem
do we
2
have homework?
is not with you. Yes. Now, but we have 6 minutes left. We have to solve another question here now. But I want you to know that if the questions have something like this, you can solve it. It's not, don't solve it. I only want the problem 1. Yeah, I only want questions that are related to problem 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, teacher, in our homework to solve lesson 4-5 and in 4-6 problems that have only problem 1.
Yes.
Idea of problem 1.
Yes. Now let's do
Teacher, for
yes.
the girls who solved it the last lesson and send it. Do they have to send it again?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now
Teacher, did you receive?
But we have 5 minutes left. I want to finish the lesson first. Then we can, you can ask me the questions. Now let's do number 9. In number 9 here, wait, give me 1 minute, please. Now look at this question here. That is number 9, page 262. In this question here, you have a rectangle, as you see. Given that the angle A and angle D are right angles, and AB are congruent with, is D congruent with DE, prove that the triangle ABE is congruent with DEB. Now, it is given that angle A and angle D are right angles. So, what did you have to write in number A?
Wait, miss.
Given that angle A and angle B are congruent, are right angles. So, the triangle,
triangle
The triangles are right angles.
are
The triangle
ABE and DEB
DEB.
are
Right
right
angles.
right
angle.
triangle.
Triangle.
Yes. Now, by the definition of right triangles, in B, you have to tell me something because of the reflexive property of congruence.
BE is congruent to BE
BE.
because of the
Thank you.
reflexive.
BE is congruent with BE because of the reflexive property of congruence. And C, it's also given that something is to something. What you have to write?
It's also given that AB is congruent.
AB is congruent to DE.
AB is congruent to DE.
AB is congruent with DE.
DE.
Now, all of you here, look at the angle A.
It's HL.
What is the its
HL
hypotenuse?
HL.
Its hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. BD.
No. I mean, look at all of you. Look at angle A. What is its hypotenuse? It is BE.
BE.
And angle D.
BE.
BE.
And angle D also BE.
BE.
And since BE is congruent with BE with an reflexive property, so I can say now that the hypotenuse are congruent. Now, and AB, it is a leg in the triangle, are congruent to the another leg in the triangle.
Yes.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
a one pair of legs. So I can conclude now that the triangle ABE is congruent with the triangle DEB by what? What do you have to write in D?
By
By
HL.
HL.
HL theorem.
So in D here, you write by HL theorem. This was our lesson today. Is it clear?
Yes, very much.
Yes, teacher. Thank you so much.
Yes, miss. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
Thank you, teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
You are
teacher.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Teacher, thank you so much. Have a nice